All right, I'm here with Steve again, and we're going to go into how to skyrocket your arm and leg locks. And again, this is really just an illustration. It's not so much about the arm and leg locks, it's an illustration of connection and alignment. And in the video we did on chokes, I was talking about the fact that we want to have basically three primary criteria when it comes to connection as a way to make our technique much more effective, but for sure more efficient. And again, number one was alignment, proper alignment, so that we are always in the optimal mechanical orientation to our opponent, specifically in this case as it relates to the joint. Second, we want to have the ability to always be using our largest muscle groups to create the best possible leverage so we can execute our technique with the minimum of effort, which is also energy conservation, eliminating mechanical inefficiency. And finally, we want to make sure that we're always taking out all of the slack so that we can execute the movement as minimum a movement as possible, which again relates directly to mechanical inefficiency. So let's take a look at a few examples. First, let's look at a basic crossbody arm lock, straight arm bar. So most people know that we want to make sure that we're curling in with our heels and make sure that we are pinching our knees in tight, okay? I wanna have the isolation on the head and shoulder line with my leg here. And by pinching, you'll notice what happens to my partner's arm here, right? If I am curling my legs but not pinching my knees, and you just let your arm go here, okay? So from here you see how much slack there is in Steve's arm. The moment I pinch my knees together, watch what happens to the limb that I'm about to attack. See all the slack there? Like it's moving not just a couple inches, but it's moving a matter of like 8 inches, right? That's massive. So that's the isolation on the limb, okay? Then we get into a couple other pieces. So number one, a lot of times people will be leaning a little bit to this side, or they'll be leaning a little bit to this side. When I'm in this standard orientation where both of Steve's arms are in the middle, I want to make sure I am directly aligned across the line of his clavicle, right? Collarbone line. That's the optimal angle. That solves a lot of problems in terms of his ability to create rotation and to potentially sit up on me. Second, when I actually go for the arm here, like this, I'm always looking to get to the end of the lever. Obviously, there's different grip schemes that Steve can use. We can go into specific ways to be able to break those. But from here, if you just clasp your hands together, kind of standing from here, first thing that I want to be thinking of before anything else is, again, so we've already talked about alignment, how do I take all the slack out? So from here, what's often missed is people curl up and start trying to fight your opponent's grip, is this, okay? So notice how I'm actually hipping in, my hips are forward, my chest is back, and look at what happens to his grip. See how it's already in combination with the other two actions coming towards me. Now, as I come directly to the end of the lever, it becomes much easier for me to be able to break. All right, now let's look at a standard Kimura from closed guard, just a basic one. So from here, a little before and after, just to see a difference. So the first one, I'm going to bring my body up, get my grip on the Kimura, my figure 4. Now from here, Steve, I want you to pull your arm into you a little bit and just resist this, okay? As I try and sit back, I want you to just see if you can keep me from being able to pull this away from your body, okay? So from here, all right. So that was one, okay? Now let's look at a second version, okay? From here, you're going to do exactly the same thing. Wow. So what was the difference? Very, very subtle, because everybody knows on a Kimura, hopefully, that you should be using your primary movers, right? You're using your back, your hips, your hamstrings against your partner's body, not just trying to use your arm. I want to cement his arm up against my chest, yes. But watch the difference here. Instead of trying to wrap his arm up where his upper arm inserts into the shoulder girdle, that is actually the fulcrum point, not the lever. If I want to create the maximum lever, notice the difference where I'm actually down here, just above his elbow. Now as I bring my chest here and lock up, I take away all the slack with my legs, make sure that he's in a 90-degree angle. And now from here, watch just a slight amount of movement and he's tapping. Changing the leverage significantly just with a few inches of movement in terms of where I'm actually wrapping the arm. All right, one more example. Of course, we have to throw in a leg lock nowadays. So I'm in what's commonly called the double trouble position. So I have the saddle position here, control above Steve's knee, up by the hip on this side, making sure, again, I'm pinching, curling with my leg, very similar to the principles of the armbar control. And then from here, I've been able to actually collect his other leg, right? This is one of the hardest positions to escape from in terms of lower body attacks because I obviously have control over both limbs. Now from here, a lot of people are aware that you can do an ankle lock or an Achilles lock on this leg, but a lot of times when somebody is skilled, that is going to be, so it's very possible to do that, but that's going to be more of the setup to get them to respond to that so that then you can take the heel on this side. What I'm going to do is actually show how to do a slightly different variation of how most people finish on this one, where we don't even really need the heel hook. Okay, so first just making sure that my position is solid. So Steve, can you get rotation out of here? All right, so first you always make sure that your control is solid first. Now what we're gonna look at here is a couple different ways. So sometimes you'll see this rear naked choke version here. So I want you to just see right now how long this takes. Okay, cool. Now from here, coming back in, we'll see how long this one takes. All right, so what was going on there? Again, when you get very good at this, the connection itself almost becomes the submission. So what I'm actually doing is up by the Achilles, I'm just taking a standard grip here. This part is right on the Achilles, but what I'm doing from here while maintaining all my lower body connection is I'm just bringing my palm to face me and I'm flaring my elbow out. Now from here, just a very subtle crunch, bringing my left elbow to my left hip, and there's the submission, okay? So again, thinking in terms of everything we talked about related to those first three principles, and then applying them everywhere for all of your joint locks.